efforts to protect some from harm marginalize, even demonize others for unpopular opinions. Archbishop Emeritus of Philadelphia Charles Chaput is one of the signers of the Philadelphia Statement. Bishops of Wichita and Denver ask Catholics to pray daily rosaries for the end of the pandemic, justice and peace, and an end to the desecration of churches. The month-long Rosary Crusades begin on the Solemnity of the Assumption. For more news from the Catholic perspective, visit EWTNnews.com. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie starts now.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. This is where we take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us. And we would like you to join us. It's kind of an open mic session, and Ryan Penny, our call screener, is available to receive your call, where you can share what you want with the world. It's a beautiful encounter. We have great conversations, and we walk away from this brief hour together a little bit closer to God, hopefully a little bit changed for the better. I'm Debbie Georgianni with the one and only Jerry Usher. And yes, Jerry, look, your eyes almost popped out of your head. What do you mean? You are the one and only.
I've actually run into other Jerry Ushers before, so that's not true.
Have you? But
I'm
on Catholic radio?
One and only this one. Yeah, on Catholic radio, I think it might be the only one.
It was interesting. I actually spoke to someone yesterday, and they were interested in joining our coaching team. Anyway, long story short, they don't listen to our show. They don't really listen to Catholic radio very much. And so I introduced them to the show, and I said, yeah. And I said, my co-host, Jerry Usher. They go, Jerry Usher? I know that name. So, yeah, your reputation precedes you.
I guess so.
It's a good reputation, though.
Yeah. Well, speaking of good reputations, Mother Angelica was a great, well, she was the foundress of EWTN and the mother of her religious order, and she had quite a life. We're going to be talking about that today, Debbie, with our listeners. And friends, we want to know what you would like to share, maybe a favorite quote or a fact or a memory, something you heard or saw from Mother Angelica during her years on the radio and TV. You can do that right now at 833-288-3986.
It's so funny. I never see you blush. Did I make you blush? Because I
don't know.
Well, it's like instant. It's like instant, perfect, airbrushed makeup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to embarrass you. I was just bragging about your reputation.
Actually, rosy cheeks run in my family.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, so it's just a natural thing. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to embarrass you. You don't like to shine the spotlight on yourself, so I will.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay, so yes, talking about Mother Angelica, I always like to borrow phrases from Jerry. You know, you always say, Jerry, inside baseball. I still don't know what that exactly means on inside baseball, but I guess that means like behind the scenes. Is that what that means? Okay.
Right, yeah, so, it's kind of like behind the curtain on The Wizard of Oz, yeah.
Okay, that I can relate to. Okay. So I just wanted to say that the reason why we're talking about Mother Angelica today is because we think about her every single day. Just so you know, dear listeners, since we started the show in June of 2015, we have always remembered Mother Angelica. And so we include her in, we now have the Powerhouse Six, and those are our friends who have left this earth. Some are canonized saints. One's an angel, the Archangel Michael, and Mother Angelica. We feel very close to her. Now, listen, it's not because she's Sicilian descent, and I am as well, and it's not because we have a similar last names. No, that's not it. All right, that's part of it. No, it really is because we really just want her influence on the show, and we have believed over the 5.5 or 5+ years that we've been broadcasting Take Two, that Mother Angelica has played an impact, and God has allowed that. And how beautiful is that? We have found inspiration in various ways to direct the show and to also conduct the show, and we really are grateful to her. And we really felt this just an abundant love, just right now. So we put her on the calendar and we titled it, How Mother Angelica Taught Us About God. So like Jerry said, share your quote your favorite quote or fact that you love and remember about Mother Angelica. And I'll share something very interesting, Jerry, that happened late last night when I couldn't sleep.
Okay.
Oh, do you want me
that
to?
now?
Well, yeah. Well, I was thinking about. I was thinking about the show.
Killing us.
Yeah. I was thinking about the show, and I turned on TV because sometimes I do that just to kind of, let my mind just, relax. And on Mother Angelica Classics on EWTN was on, and Mother was speaking, and I said, wow, isn't this a God incidence? And she talked about mercy, and she talked about forgiveness, and she kept saying, God is mercy. God is mercy. We have a little bit of mercy, but God is mercy. We have a little bit of forgiveness, but God is forgiveness. And I thought, oh, Mother, you are just so amazing, and that's why I just say having the classics available to us, I think is very, helpful for our spiritual life. So talk about that. Talk about that coincidence. Isn't that interesting? God incident.
Well, it is. And yeah, I think, thank God for EWTN airing Mother Angelica Live Classics, because her wit and her wisdom and her great inspiration needs to live on. And, for those who don't know, Mother she had a stroke in 2001 and really was never back on the radio or TV after that. And she died in 2016. So you're talking about someone who started a media apostolate and was very, very popular on the network. And then God took her off the network for the last 15 years of her life. Why would God do that? And what impact has EWTN had on you because of the courage and also the audaciousness, if that's the right word, of Mother Angelica? She just went out on a limb and, was really sure that God wanted this network to be started. So come on, let's load up these phone lines and share what you remember about Mother Angelica. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
And how she impacted your faith life. We want to know about that. So this is your time to really share how much you love Mother Angelica. Please call in, like Jerry said, 833-288-3986. Jerry, we've got a very urgent prayer request. One of our loyal listeners and member of the Take Two family, I'm going to let his name remain private and anonymous because it's just important to protect his family. Right now, as we speak, his former wife is petitioning the court to remove his ability to see his precious son that he loves so very much. It is a tragic situation. It is not good. It is not of God. It is horrible what is happening. Please, Take Two family, please pray for this. God knows who he is. He's going to court right now. He loves his son so very much, and his son loves and needs him in his life. And so this is just not good. And this is what happens as a fallout of divorce. So please, Take Two family, pray for this father who wants to be with his son. Right, Jerry?
That is right. And we are looking forward to you calling up and sharing your memories, your thoughts, your recollections of Mother Angelica right now at 833-288-3986.
Hi, Take Two family. Jerry and I are so excited about the launch of Stand Tall, our new ministry designed just for you. Please visit standtalltoday.com and take a look at all the resources, devotionals, and services we have provided to assist you on your spiritual journey. Feeling stuck? Or maybe you feel like you're moving backwards? Let us help you take another look at life and make great strides toward being the person both you and God want you to be. Learn more at standtalltoday.com.
Brothers and sisters, what's God trying to teach you through this time? Resistance is how you build muscle. If there's resistance on your bicep, through curls, you'll get a nice big bicep. This is resistance put upon all of us. This is a time of struggle, of trial. But our loving God and Father has a plan to bring us through this better than when we started this. This time will pass, make no mistake about it. Even if it leads to a Great Depression, there will come a time when you look back at this and say, it's over. My question to you is, how is God calling you to grow in this time? And what are you doing to be intentional about not letting this pass by, but engaging in that spiritual battle, engaging in the way that He wants you to grow? Think of that. So you could look back at this time that passed and see a new virtue and beauty in you that has not passed. God bless you.
For more, text Chris at 44144. This is Chris Stefanik on EWTN Radio.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN. Our producer, Michael Birchfield, is not only producing today, but taking your social media comments off of the EWTN Facebook and YouTube channels and passing those along to us. Ryan Penny is on the phones. And one of the things to remember about this and all radio shows is there's a finite number of phone lines. Many of our lines are full right now, but a couple are still available if you want to get in and talk about Mother Angelica. Beautiful, beautiful story, how she started EWTN. And Debbie, we were just reminded by Michael Birchfield that it's the anniversary of the founding of the network is coming up in a few days.
39th anniversary, August 15th, on the Feast of the Assumption. Jerry, you see how Mother was allowed to share that with us early on? Because we didn't even realize that at the time when we placed this on the calendar. Do you see? God is working very fast these days, folks. We feel it all the time. Do you? Do you feel it? It's moving very quickly now. And it's a beautiful thing. And we join together as a faith-filled body of Christ. And let's do this together. That's what Take Two's all about. We need you. Hopefully you need us a little bit, to be behind the mics, but not much. You could do it yourselves because you are the teachers here, and we learn from you. But Jerry, isn't that amazing? What another God incidence. We didn't even realize it at the time we placed it because we placed it several weeks back, right?
Yeah, this happens quite a bit on this show, and we're happy. What a happy coincidence or God incidence, as Debbie said. And it would be an extra special blessing for you to participate in today's broadcast at 833-288-3986, 833-288-3986. Your memories, recollections, inspirations, anything you have learned or how your life has been blessed or you've been inspired by EWTN and Mother Angelica. We're going to start in Denver, Colorado with Ruth, listening on Catholic Radio Network. Hi, Ruth. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was just going to call. Yeah, hi. This is the first time I've called. I've called other shows before, but this is the first time I've called you. I'm the mom of 3 boys, and 2 of my boys have autism. And they have amazing interactions with supernatural things, but my one son, since about 14, 15 years ago, he would always go in the basement to watch TV, and I was down doing laundry. I'm like, I hear a Latin Mass. What is he watching? I hear a Latin Mass. And I went over, he shut the TV off, and no, go away. So then a couple days later, I'm down there doing laundry, and I hear this woman, and I'm like, I go over there. I said, who is this funny nun? Mother Angelica. And so my autistic son introduced me to EWTN.
How beautiful. That is just beautiful. Did you ever get a sense of why when the first time you went over and he turned the TV off, did you get a sense of why he did that? Just curious, Ruth.
I don't, he's always like kind of private, and so
a little
like
private, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, if I say, oh, what are you doing? It's like, oh, nothing. So, yeah, I'm not sure why, but, my parents have passed on, and they will, this one son, Brendan, he will, every once in a while, he'll point to the ceiling, he'll say, Grandpa Joe. Like, wow. And so I've had a lot of different things with both of my autistic boys with, like interactions with my deceased parents. Sometimes it's like I tell people, I'm like, well, that's giving me goosebumps. So I have to thank Mother Angelica because of EWTN. It has just made my faith so much stronger. And when the world's, going the way it is right now, and I get anxious, I just go over and turn on EWTN, and there's always something on there, brings me peace and just relaxes me. And I'm like, hey, God's got this, nothing to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, just real quick, Debbie, the reason God's got this, Ruth, as we know, is because you and so many other thousands of people support EWTN. And Debbie and I never miss an opportunity. I'm not putting you on the spot about this, Ruth, but I'm just saying for anybody who has a few extra dollars, Mother Angelica used to say, put us between your gas and electric bill. And you're right, Ruth, we're living in times right now that are absolutely, you couldn't dream this stuff up, what's going on in the world right now. And people are searching. Debbie, we know, we hear it all the time. They're searching searching for an anchor, a rock to hold on to. And this network that Mother founded all those years ago, 39 years ago, is still here today, providing that anchor, that rootedness for people to stay strong in their faith.
I couldn't agree more. It feels like we're living in like a twilight zone. It really does. And Mother, in her very direct way, she didn't have a very polished filter at times, and I love that. I love just giving the brutal, honest truth. It pierces, it goes directly to our hearts and to our souls. I believe that is God using an incredible open nun to convey his message. And she was open to it.
My favorite quote of hers is, "Everyone hauls their own carcass to market."
That's right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. And you see what I'm talking about? Like, I mean, you look at how she delivered things. It really just, it would stick with us. Right. And it has stuck with us. I just want to go back to your children, who have autism, Ruth. I just want to say what a beautiful mom you are. And I love the fact that you highlight their heightened sense. I've heard that before, and I've read that quite often. And now you're speaking about it in real, it's a real life experience for you. And I think it's just a wonderful gift that these children and adults who have autism, so many of them do have that real sensitivity to the unknown, to the supernatural, to the divine. And I think it's your mom? Go ahead.
Oh, my mom was devoted to angels. She just had a real devotion to the angels. My mom and dad had 10 children, so she was always devoted to the angels. And we'd go up to her house and she had statues of angels. And when she passed, several years later, it would have been her 80th birthday. My son, he didn't know it was her 80th birthday, but he came home from his day program and he had a little cut glass angel. And he pulled it out of the bag and he said, "Grandma Jane, angel, Grandma Jane, angel, Grandma Jane, angel." And I was like,
yep.
Oh my goodness, how did you? It was just amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to bring that up because if you've listened to the show, you said this is the first time you've called in. Thank you so much for calling into our show. Now you're not a first-time caller anymore, so call anytime, Ruth. But I wanted to, and I got to give you the virtual first-time caller bell. So there you go. You got that bell. Okay. But I wanted just to share real quickly about angels, real fast, if I may. Mother Angelica was very close to St. Michael the Archangel. Okay, we know that from stories. And if you read Raymond Arroyo's book, fabulous books on Mother Angelica, it's in the book. Okay, and I just wanted to say that's key because we should all develop our relationship with our guardian angels, and it's much easier for children to be very open to that, to the angelic realm, and we have that ability as well. What stops us is our will to choose something other than what the angels can impress upon us as in our minds as images, right? So we choose our own selfish desires, our own needs, right? And we're not open to it. Whereas children are much more open to it. So I just want to reiterate that I just love the fact that your sons have that capability and that gift. And I just want to encourage others that's open to all of us. And that's really a beautiful thing.
It is. Well, thank you for all the work you do. I really appreciate it, and I love listening to you.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. You're so kind, and as Debbie said, you're never going to be a first-time caller again, so that's we would welcome you back on the program anytime. Thank you, Ruth, for your call. 833-288-3986. On Facebook, the EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook channel, Beth wrote this: "I never met Mother Angelica, but got to know her through the memories of my Aunt Sherry, formerly known as Sister Gabriel. When she left us, Mother's parting gift to her was a wooden cross, which I borrowed during my chemotherapy treatment. I've been in remission for a few years now. I love listening to her, but as the closing music comes on, I get choked up." Isn't that beautiful? What a great gift. Mother gifted so many people, not only with her presence, but just the acts of kindness and things that she did.
Absolutely. Because she was willing to go out there. She was willing to meet people where they're at. And she spoke in that vein. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what I loved about Mother. She was just, it was a straight shooter, right, Jerry? Just, right to the heart of things.
Yeah.
It's important.
No mincing words. But the beautiful thing is she had both sides of the coin covered. She would be real straightforward and even sometimes, critical of those who were living, and doing things that they knew they shouldn't do. And yet on the other hand, she was so gentle, and I would say even pastoral, Debbie, with those who were, at a place where they were seeking, they were looking, and they weren't sure, what they wanted to do with life. Maybe they were in a bad situation, and she would just love them out of that situation and into the friendship of God.
That's true. Well said. Okay, let's hear what Harry has to say. Harry's in Wake Forest, North Carolina. That's a beautiful area. I love Wake Forest. Divine Mercy Radio, that's the way you're listening. Also a first-time caller. You get the virtual bell too, Harry. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Debbie. I first want to refer to what you said about watching one of our old-time shows. I'm pretty much addicted to them. I'm at the point now I DVR them as best I can until I run out of space, and I try to watch them, and then some of them are just so good, I find it hard to delete them. So it's always a choice. What do you keep on the DVR to watch again if you feel the need to watch it again? But every single one, every one of her shows, you walk away feeling good about yourself. You walk away learning a lot, and you sort of walk away just in amazement of what a great woman she was and what she accomplished. And it's only in today's crazy backwards media that this story hasn't been really told the way it should be to more people. I mean, we as Catholics are blessed that most of us hopefully have heard of her and listened to her. But I think there's a lot of people in this world that if they haven't heard of her or heard of her story, would be amazed at what she accomplished. And like I said, you just have to listen to one of those old shows and see how wise she is. And she just has such a nice way about her. And like I said, just makes you feel good every time you watch or listen to one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sure, Harry, as you're talking there, it reminds me of something that I was thinking about earlier before the show. One of the qualities or characteristics, if you will, about Mother that I remember, and it seems to be kind of along the lines of what you're saying, is she was very sure of herself. She wasn't cocky, she wasn't prideful, but she was aware of the mission she had been given by God. And so she would go on the radio and with, I think, great confidence and boldness, just speak, or you could even almost say preach that message to people. And, she had this way of just, I think you mentioned it, Debbie, earlier, the messages pierced people right to the heart. And I think that was because she was very confident and secure in her relationship with God and with the message and the mission that he had given to her. What do you think, Debbie?
I completely agree. And Harry, you said you don't want to remove those DVR recordings. I agree with you. It's like we want her in our living room all the time. And it's so amazing how after all these years, it still feels like she is there. And it still is. And the messages that she has, like Jerry said, that are just piercing our heart, going right to what really is the truth. There's no apologies around it. She's not trying to mince words. She's not trying to, make it shiny and bright. And she's giving us the real raw truth. It's very refreshing in a day and age when we have so much, so many things happening around us where it's so hard for us to really get to the real honest truth, the real brutal truth, right? She gave it to us. And her message is relevant today, now more than ever, actually. Right, Harry?
Yes, and I think even the way she gently always handled the callers at the end of the show, they all had situations that other people might have severely chastised them for or spoke to them in a different manner, but she was always so gentle and kind and caring and had a sort of nice way about her of even detaching what she had to say from that person and sort of addressing mankind in general. And you knew that all those people called in with serious situations they were going through, and maybe they, had been at that point in their time delving into some sin or whatever, but they too, I'm sure, walked away feeling good and glad that they called her. So she just had a nice way about trying to assist them into feeling good about themselves again and realizing what they need to do to hopefully help themselves, get in a better place.
Right. Well, real quickly, Harry, you make a good point. She gave us the truth, the real raw truth, but her personality, her loving way, her caring way for the human, the human person that was, that she was working with or talking to, right? That love, that love came forth. But see, that's the beauty of it. That's what I mean. We can all deliver the truth in love. Okay, with charity and clarity. I think there's a beautiful radio station. I think it's Station of the Cross talks about that with charity, to present the
truth, with charity and clarity.
Charity and clarity. That's Mother Angelica's mission. And we can all do that. It's not done that way these days, right, Jerry, though? Unfortunately, on social media, it's not done that way.
Oh, goodness, no, you're right about that. And the thing about Mother is she got criticized by some people for being too blunt and forceful, and maybe got criticized by some for being a little too compassionate and empathetic and so forth. But who else was all of those things rolled up into one? Our Lord Jesus Christ. She was being Christ-like to people given the circumstances of the situation and what she felt like, led by the Holy Spirit, what she felt like they needed to hear. So, Harry, thank you for the call. We greatly appreciate that. Be well in Wake Forest, and do call the program again anytime. We've got Sharon, Sean, Diane, Mary, Joanne, and many others here. We're talking about Mother Angelica. The 39th anniversary of the founding of EWTN is this Saturday. And so we are talking about the memory of Mother Angelica and how she inspired you and others. So give us a call at 833-288-3986.
Father Larry Richards.
God is the God of life. God is the God of love. So when we conform our life to His life and His will, it's always life-giving. Always.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Looking for a 2020 view on how Catholics are voting in the upcoming election? EWTN News and Real Clear Opinion Research are partnering to bring you clear and concise data on where the nation stands on issues, candidates, policies, and more by surveying Americans, including Catholics like you. And it's available now at EWTNnews.com/poll.
60 Seconds with Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen.
It must be understood at the beginning that the Eucharist may be considered either from the point of view of a sacrament or from the point of view of a sacrifice. In order to understand this distinction, because it is rather a technical one, we go back to the analogy of nature. Every day of your life, you partake of certain food, the products of wheat, vegetables, fish, meat. They all enter into the sustenance of your life. They nourish you, they feed you. But have you ever thought of this other side? Before they can ever nourish you, they must be submitted to some kind of sacrifice. Before they can be the sacrament of your physical life, they must die or be sacrificed.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
I'm Gloria Purvis.
And I'm Deacon Harold. The Morning Glory team rethinks reproductive rights.
Tomorrow morning, 7 Eastern. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Always great to have you with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. Without your carrying the show, well, Debbie and I could get on the phone and talk to each other every day for an hour, but we'd rather be with you. So thank you, affiliates, for that. And I just want to mention that there's a TV program that is related to the EWTN Religious Catalog. You can go online and shop and browse for great stuff at EWTNRC.com. But there is a show tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on EWTN Television and carried by some of these stations. It's EWTN Religious Catalog on on TV. So you can browse and purchase religious items and holy reminders to support EWTN's mission, including the Immaculate Heart of Mary plaque and the Holy Rosary with Mother Angelica and the Nuns DVD and the El Divino Nino statue and a whole lot more. So listen tonight at 5 Eastern Time and watch on EWTN television. It's EWTN Religious Catalog.
Okay, we're going to go back to the phones. If you, when a line becomes open, please jump on it quickly at 833-288-3986 and share your memories of Mother Angelica like Ruth did and Harry did. And now we're going to move to Joanne. And Joanne's our friend from the Station of the Cross in Buffalo, New York. Hi, Joanne. Welcome.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Joanne.
I just miss her so much, Mother Angelica. Many years ago, I was in a really dark place, mentally and spiritually, and I couldn't wait to call, or I couldn't wait to listen to Mother on the phone. No, until I used to tune in, and so I called her one night because I was just she had a show about your biggest fears. And my biggest fear was, the way I grew up, my mother had a lot of mental illness, a lot of problems. And I had all these little kids and I was on the verge of a break, So I called Mother and I said, "Oh, Mother, my biggest fear is I'm going to lose it just like my mother did." She was in and out of hospitals and things like that. And she almost scolded me, and she said, "Honey, why would you ever think that's going to happen to you?" And then she went on and talked about her own mother and the problems her mother had and what she had, and it was as if it brought her right back, to the troubles her own mother had with the mental problems and all that and their poverty. So she said, "All right, honey," and then she just changed. "Honey, I'm going to pray over you." And she prayed this prayer of healing over me, and you're going to be all right. And it was if I was taken out of it. I was taken out of space and time, and I was taken out of this whole darkness and everything. I never had a problem again. And I just thought, she teaches us, but she has had such a gift of healing, and her prayers are so simple. How she prayed over people, and that was just my story. And I just think it healed me for life, just because I trusted that God would take care of things. That's it.
Joanne, thank you for calling and bringing out this aspect of Mother, because she did have it very, very rough growing up, and it's beautiful when we can all share each other's experiences, especially when they're difficult experiences, and say, "Wait a minute, you don't have to let that get the best of you." And Mother had this boldness and obedience to the Holy Spirit. Here she is on her program talking about whatever the topic was. Joanne calls in and Mother says, "Let's pray. Let's pray." And Debbie, you're nodding your head yes, because that's just the way she was. She had some format and structure to the program, but she wasn't afraid to divert a little bit from that, because here was Joanne, a caller to the show, somebody watching who needed to be prayed over and needed to receive healing right then and there.
I can see why you miss her, Joanne. You can hear it in your words. You're very close to her. And she did show up for you at a very important time in your life. And that's what I think we all miss about her. We wish we could have a ton of Mother Angelicas running around right now. We need that, right? And all we here on earth are left with are the memories of all of the recordings and everything she did on radio and television. And so we're grateful for that. But those that have encountered her like you did in a very special way, it was really a gift. It was really life-changing, right?
It's the mark of a true saint. I think people feel like that with Fulton Sheen and things like that. They have this personal relationship, like as if they knew them, and now they really know us, and they're interceding for us. So
I love it. I love it. I know. You know, what else can, you know, I'm really grateful to EWTN that they, you know, constantly make available for all of us her shows, the classics, you know, the books, you know, the recordings, you know, all sorts of things, you know, the rosary, everything, the chaplet. So, I mean, I'm so grateful that EWTN has spent the time to do that for us, because it really is. It benefits all of us, even those that just get introduced to her, right? Do you meet people, Joanne, that just heard of her through the classics and they're like, wow, you know, and what's the first question they ask? Is she still alive, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had an aunt that said, boy, she's still going strong. You know, she doesn't look any older. This was a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, God bless you, Joanne. Anything else you want to add?
God bless you.
Okay.
No, just thank you for your show. I know you keep her in your prayers, and I know she's working through you too also.
No doubt.
Thank
no
you.
doubt. Yeah.
We love you, Joanne. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Next up, our conversation about Mother Angelica. Sharon is in Omaha, Nebraska, and listening on Sirius XM 130, another first-time caller to Take Two. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Jerry.
Hello.
Hi, Sharon.
How are you?
And I'm great. And as I was listening to you, I thought, I'm going to share something really quick because it meant a lot. Obviously, it's been over 30 years. And she came to Omaha Archdiocese for a special event, and it was in April of 1983. And I didn't know any other mothers that we called mothers other than Mother Teresa. And when she, you know, came on the stage, and it's like, who is this woman? So I didn't really know her at all. And obviously, over the years, I've gotten to know her very well. And has just basically changed my life. And I felt like you needed to hear my testimony because all through my life I've had very significant moments and time in my spiritual life that I can pinpoint to a change and making a difference in my spiritual life. So I thought I would share that with you and anybody else that's listening. And,
please do. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just amazing. And I thank you for, obviously allowing me to get on the show because I've called other shows, and it's like, couldn't even get through. So it's very rewarding to actually be able to speak with you guys. And
well, Sharon, thank you so much for sharing about your 1983 visit. I thought maybe you wanted to add a little more, but meeting Mother and having that experience really was a gift. It really was a gift to so many. I know my mother felt the same way. My mother met her in, I believe, the late 1980s, I believe, in Arizona. And my mother felt the same way. And there's a picture of my mom and Mother Angelica together. And my mom couldn't wait to get to her and say, we share the same last name and the same Sicilian heritage. And so Mother grabbed her and took a beautiful picture with her. But you're right. You're absolutely correct. Who did we know as Mother? Mother Teresa. And here comes Mother Angelica, and she, God, let's face it, founding the biggest religious network in the world. I mean, that takes God to work through someone that is going to be very open, willing, and able. And she was. And so because of that, of course, she's going to be a gift to all of us if we encountered her and got to see her or meet her personally. So you're blessed. You're absolutely blessed. I never got the chance to meet her. I wish I did. I was supposed to be at that meeting that day when my mom met her. Unfortunately, I was taking care of a little one, so couldn't go. But yeah.
Well, and I was pregnant at the time when I
were you?
saw her.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't really meet her, but
right.
Yeah. So that's, I think, one of the reasons too why I can pinpoint it. It was in April of 1983.
Wow.
But it was just amazing to be able to be there. And
yeah. Yeah. And wasn't that her birthday month too, April? I believe April was her birthday month.
Yeah, I believe it was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Cool.
Interesting.
Well, that's even more special. And so obviously over the years, I've gotten to know her and her dry humor a lot more. And so it's been quite rewarding. So, and thank you for being on the radio and doing what you do.
Well, thank you, Sharon. Thank you for the call and for sharing how impactful that was when you met Mother Angelica. We appreciate you joining us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I had the blessing of meeting her, Debbie, but it was after, I think she had multiple strokes, if I recall correctly, and it was when she was basically no longer able to be on TV, and it was during one of the Catholic radio conferences in Birmingham at Irondale.
Wow.
And we went to the shrine in Hanceville, and after a group gathering in the crypt, a mass or something, we got to form a line, and everyone got to just meet Mother, just kind of shake her hand real briefly. She was behind the grill. So that was very, very special to me. But another thought that comes to me as we're talking about, Mother being raised up to do the work that she did and how she fought so many difficult battles when she was young and throughout her life, it reminded me of a saying, I think it's by St. Therese, who says, God doesn't choose the equipped, he equips those he chooses. And so let us all keep that in mind, because we feel sometimes, well, I'm not equipped to do what God is calling me to do. Don't worry about that. If God is calling you, if he's choosing you, he will equip you to do it, whatever that is.
Very good. I'm so glad you said that. And yes, to Sharon, Mother Angelica's birthday was April 20th. So it was in April. Wow. Okay. Sean is up next in Houston, Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Sean. Thanks for waiting and welcome.
Hi, Debbie and Jerry.
Hi, Sean.
I could not believe about 25 years ago, I was coming home from partying, and I got on my TV, channel surfing, and I want to say this quickly because I fell in love with. I came across Mother Angelica, but she was so direct. That's why I fell in love with her. But she made you realize she wanted to take you to heaven, because she loved you. But at that time, I was taking care of an elderly mother. She was blind, and it just touched my heart. But, in a nutshell, I was able to walk away from a gay lifestyle and live, love myself. Because like you said, Mother Angelica, she told it like it was up front. She told the truth. But she told it because she loved you. She reminded me of little Maria Goretti. She wanted everybody to go to heaven. But it's the most beautiful. She made me realize that taking care of my mama was the greatest gift God ever gave me. And it has touched my life, done so much for my life. And when she died, my mom died about a couple of months later. And I always feel in my heart that she influenced God to take her, because Mother and I would say the rosary at 10:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the evening. And she just made me proud to be not only Catholic, but to love Jesus.
Wow. That is a beautiful story, Sean. Thank you for calling up and sharing this on the air today, and for sharing about your background. And what the image that comes to my mind is, like you said, Mother wanted only one thing, and that was to take people to heaven. And it made me think about, as we're traveling the road of life, it's like when we're driving in our car, and they have stop signs and yield signs and beware of this signs and red lights and green lights. And those are meant for a purpose. They're meant to help us get safely to where we're going. And if we are missing those signs or ignoring them or whatever, somebody can come along and maybe even sternly say, "Hey, watch out! You're going in the wrong direction," or something like that. And that was Mother. She did it for a reason. It's like Jesus in the Bible. He had some righteous anger because people were acting in a way that was not going to get them to heaven or help other people get to heaven as well. So, I think it's what an amazing story he has, Debbie.
And for Mother and for the words that she shared, for those to be able to change your direction in life, Sean, for the better. Wow, that's incredible. Another gift, another blessing for you. I just want to say real quickly, let's look at Mother Angelica's agenda. Okay, because right now everybody's looking at in today's world what is their what is their agenda? What is their motive? Where are they coming from? Right? Mother Angelica's agenda was God's agenda. Is God's agenda. Okay, all she was doing was getting us to believe more and to have faith and to be the best we could be and to get closer to God. That was her agenda. It's God's agenda. And we all recognize it. Those of us who want to take, those blinders off and we really want to see the truth, right? We're forever changed by that. What do you think, Sean? Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. She made me want to continually watch EWTN, educate myself. I mean, I learned so much about the saints. And even my little niece and nephew would say, Uncle Marty, how come, how do you know all these things? And I said, I would tell them, baby, you've got to pray for faith. It's a gift from God. You ask him every day to give the Holy Spirit to touch you and pray for faith. And that's how I get through life, is because she taught me how to love not only, mostly my faith, but to love Jesus. Don't take him for granted.
Amen. Amen, Sean. And a lot of people are hearing your words right now, and those are they're penetrating hearts and minds right now of the people who are listening. So thank you for calling. Thanks for listening to the show and being a part of this conversation about Mother Angelica today. We appreciate that. I'm going to get to an email here in a moment and some other social media comments, but I want to mention podcasting. EWTN Radio posts 11 podcasts every weekday and over 60 per week. So you never have to miss your favorite EWTN programs, and they're all free. Just go to EWTN.com/radio/podcasts to listen and subscribe. And our friend John emailed, if you don't mind, I can read that.
Please go right ahead. I was hoping you would.
John says, good afternoon. I hope the day is going well for you both. It is. I want to weigh in while I was on my lunch break about today's topic on Mother Angelica. I remember when I was much younger, falling asleep to EWTN, and Mother Angelica was always a source of comfort to me. One of the biggest things that sticks out about her is when she made a comment about we all have the opportunity to be great saints and that we shouldn't miss the opportunity. Mother Angelica will always hold a special place in my heart. Have a blessed day, your friend John. Thank you, John.
That's beautiful. I wonder what John's eating for lunch.
I don't know. He'll probably email us now.
That was the other thing Mother talked about last night on the classics. She was talking about how she loved eating a plate of spaghetti, but it didn't agree with her anymore. And she says, but you just got to have that plate of spaghetti every once in a while. See, we always think about food. I can't help it. It's part of my DNA. All right, David in Charlotte, North Carolina. Carolina Catholic Radio is the way you're listening. Hi, David. Welcome.
Hello, Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, David.
Hi, David.
How are you? Carpe diem.
Carpe diem, indeed.
We don't have to wait till September. We don't have to wait until September 12th. I'm glad you have this topic today.
Yeah, thanks. So what's happening?
You all went on the air. Well, you came on the air about the time we started the ministry, started the apostolate here, going way back. And I was thinking the first time I called you, I was trying to do a pitch for the EWTN Media Missionary Program, and it's like, wow, look at how far we've come in 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
but
you're right.
My story, but my story basically is where Mother first intervened and started to show me the way was at the men's conference in March of 2015, and I was doing a lot of soul searching at that time. We were at St. Matthew, the largest parish in the country. There's about 50,000 registered Catholics in that parish in Charlotte. But they had the men's conference there, and I went up to the EWTN booth, and I talked with Spencer Swope. And I said to Spencer, I said, would you happen to have anything going on, any opportunities where I might be able to do some volunteer work? And he said, David, you won't believe this, but we have got he says, I cover the whole Southeast, well, pretty much from Texas to Virginia to Florida. He said the only diocese that we do not have an area coordinator for EWTN is in North Carolina. And I looked up and I was like, Mother, you're leading me, and you got my attention. And from that moment on, we found that there was no Catholic radio in North Carolina except down in Wilmington. There was some low-powered FMs in Wilmington over time, but only in Charleston and Greenville, South Carolina, and there was nothing all the way over to Knoxville, Tennessee, and pretty much out to Virginia Beach. It was just a vast wasteland with no Catholic radio. So we had against all odds. The message was, I've been in secular media for what turned out to be about 40 years, and interestingly, and in the course of it, we found a station in Charlotte that we were able to do. It took us from 2017. We did a test station in Salisbury, but it took us until January 31st at 5 p.m. 2019 that we started a lease option purchase type agreement with AM 1270 WCGC in Belmont, Charlotte, covering the entire beltway around Charlotte, the 485 corridor, reaching about 750,000 people. And we got to the point where we were going to be buying the station. We had a lot of ups and downs, but we were supposed to close on the station on the Feast of the Transfiguration. And then yesterday, I heard about the anniversary for EWTN and Mother coming up on Saturday, the Feast of the Assumption. And all of a sudden, my lawyer started saying, well, you're going to miss the feast day of St. Clair, and we think you're going to be closing on the feast day of St. Maximilian Kolbe, and that's the last business day before EWTN's anniversary. And it's like, oh, my gosh, she just brought me right up under her arm. She tucked us in, and it's like, all right, Carolinas, let's go.
Well, that's awesome, David. I know Debbie and I are extremely grateful for not only what you are doing, but for keeping us in the loop and possibly inviting us to be a part of that at some point, when you do some on-air fundraising. But when we look at, I remember, Debbie, when did we do that show? Other than Jesus, who do you think has had the most influence on the world? And so many people said Mother Angelica. And when you look at the shortwave, which was global and still is, and you've got all of the Catholic radio stations that have started and the social media feeds, Debbie, her reach, her inspiration is, of course, global now, and you're talking about maybe hundreds of millions of people. That's that's mind-boggling, really.
Right. I agree. And David, thank you for sharing your. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just one thing I wanted to mention in the midst of all this, because the conversation come up about what good has come out of the pandemic, and quite honestly, what we have found, we have an opportunity, through this whole ordeal. The diocese postponed or basically canceled till 2021 their annual Eucharistic Congress at the convention center. Typically 15,000 people come, and as soon as that happened, I just looked up and it was like, David, you've got to step in. You've got to go into the breach. You got to fill the void. There's something to be done. And I say that in terms of there was no hesitation. I felt like Mother, pretty much what I've heard this morning. It's like, okay, you spend enough time. I think earlier on one of the programs, you spend enough time in adoration and this and that, and it's like it's time to get to work. And it's like we've got to do this. And what I think is incredible for Catholic radio with all of this is that we're going to do 5 platforms. We're going to do video, which people did not expect, but we're going to be doing video. We're going to be on Facebook and YouTube and our website and our mobile app, which has a whole section on prayer and learning and all kinds of things. So it's kind of like all things Catholic on our Carolina Catholic radio app. And it's a beautiful thing. I think we're going to emerge as a network that, we're Radio Plus. We're going to be able to provide conferences and virtual live streaming events and be able to do things. I have the feeling from the feedback that I've gotten that we will probably do this kind of an event on a quarterly basis.
Wow.
And that's very, very exciting.
Well, David, we're looking forward to that event. So thank you so much for extending an invitation to us as well. We're so looking forward to it. And God bless you. I think it's great. I just wanted to say, David's story reminds us, Jerry, that when these holy men and women of God leave this earth, their ministry work is still happening. That's what I love about it.
Well, and what do you say this show continues to happen tomorrow? Part 2, what do you think?
Okay, let's do it.
Because we have Amanda and Elizabeth and Jean and Diane and Mary that we weren't able to get to. Please, all of you, we apologize for not having the time today, but we'll do a part 2 tomorrow. We invite you to call early and get put to the front of the line with Ryan. So let's do this again tomorrow.
So until tomorrow, for part 2, have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.
Dr. Ray Guarendi avoiding all known forms of psychobabble. The doctor is in next on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Coming up later today on Kresta in the Afternoon.
Beirut is still reeling from last week's explosion, and Lebanon's entire government has resigned in disgrace. In many ways, it mirrors another tragedy, the 1917 explosion of the SS Mont Blanc in Halifax Harbor, Nova Scotia during the First World War. Are there lessons from that earlier tragedy